Money grows, peace can grow. Money stack grow, only money grows.
What's up, YouTube fam? It's your man King Marcel, and we back with another video. I got some more creepy and strange TikToks today I think you all really need to see. State of the world is getting crazier by the day. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you're notified whenever I do drop a video here. You're on the road to 500 subscribers, so make sure you guys sub up and join the kingdom. But without further ado, we're about to get right into this one.
Why do I need to watch 60 Minutes Australia to find out what was happening here in America? We are occupied. We are living in North Korea. Apologies to North Korea. I could be wrong about that too. But major story just broke about baby killers, baby eaters, rape, and incubation inside of Zora Ranch with the elites. And not a peep from the Western media news.
Girls waking up in sort of like a dark room with like a female doctor standing over them, feeling like maybe there is some kind of procedure that had happened that they weren't aware of.
Not even a Zora Ranch operation room she's talking about. This is a different operation room at a different property for the love of the motherfucking game. That got Howard Nutlick face right there in a cut like Neosporin.
Baby actually being born, and then just disappearing, like Ghislaine taking it.
It can also be confirmed when you go through this iniquitous ass diary of a girl that was literally being kidnapped there and incubated.
We're hearing conversations about trying to create the perfect baby, the perfect gene pool. I know that there was sort of a hunt, if you will, for the perfect gene pool.
It can also be confirmed in the files. Here is a deck about my designer baby project. Vicinous to even say that fucking out loud. I've talked with Austin again, and we have a series of questions about how serious you are about wanting this and what the ground rules are for me even exploring this with you and getting to next steps. And he says, I'm traveling in the Middle East. I have no problem investing. I just can't be seen as the lead. Sick shit going on.
Harvesting of sex organs to allegations of women having forced abortions or forced pregnancies.
They're now currently searching Zora Ranch to try to find two buried girls that were supposedly strangled by either Epstein or Ghislaine. Now, why will they not find them? Well, I'll tell you. Because in 2019, when Trumpstein was president and shit hit the fan, all of a sudden, they was like, no, we're not going to search Zora Ranch. Stand down. There's no probable cause. Hey, why would you search that? Why would you search that? I don't know, maybe because it already looks like some shit out of a scary movie with no houses, no civilization for miles around, so you can't even hear the fucking screams that are coming from that sick-ass place with most likely an underground bunker that they then filled the fuck up. And that's not even talking about the men that were right there. There's so much death that surrounds this area and sick shit that somehow we're just supposed to sweep it under the rug? Like, nah, bro, we so fucking occupied. Maybe the bomber was the one that put Double O Epstein into play, and then Trumpstein fell for that shit, got put into a fucking corner.
And then my main thing is, why did this get released in Australia? Why did 60 Minutes Australia release this and not here in the States? Because I heard nothing about this. Because I'm definitely about to go and watch it. Because what? That happened here. But they talking about this in a whole other country. Because they don't want the Americans to know what is transpiring here. Right up under our noses. And that's the purpose of this channel, is to get us out of this blind state that these folks have us in. We have to remove the blinds from our eyes. And really do something about this nonsense. This is crazy.
And that's why we are today where we are at. And they want you to worry about Iran, and motherfuckers want you to worry about the ballroom. Fuck that. I'm worried about the sex cult, child pedo cult, and baby eaters that you guys were pushing to the top of the priority list and in the positions of power. That's what the fuck I'm worried about. Niggas need to go to prison yesterday. America, I get what you're trying to do. Flood the social media and news so we forget about this shit. I'm not forgetting. Motherfuckers need to go to Gladiator Fridays and die.
Straight like that.
People continue to not understand what I'm putting down about Yemen. You want to know about the world's first skyscraper? This is probably an underrepresentation of this building's splendor and height, and certainly its colors, because even AI tools aren't trained on the requisite visual information to make this thing happen. I fed what all the chroniclers and historians said about this building. This is the Gumdan Palace in Sana'a, Yemen, built in the 2nd or 3rd century CE. 20 stories, each story was 10 cubits, that's 15 feet, so 300 feet tall. At the top were 4 large hollow bronze lion statues, so that when the trade winds shifted, They would sound like they were roaring out over the city. You get the impression, right? Start your engines, baby, because this is our territory. They were at a crucial position on the international spice and incense route from India to the Mediterranean Sea and back. Now, each face of this building is supposed to be a different color from the other faces. So one entire side was a black stone. One entire side was a red porphyry. One entire side was white marble, and the last was dark green marble. Towering out over the city. Here's let me show you what the throne room at the top looked like. Is that not exquisite? The only thing different is that this corner should be knocked out. Like every corner was knocked out with a balcony so that the king could walk and watch the moon. This side is supposed to be a different color. But the skylight is absolutely right. That's not glass. That's not wax paper. That's alabaster, cut so thin that you could see the shadows of birds flying across it. And on the king sitting there with the incense burning, probably frankincense. It was exquisite. It was torn down in the 7th century by Caliph Uthman. He thought Yemeni rebels would be using it as a fortress, as a rallying point. And what a loss for the world it was. This thing was exquisite.
We had a song that said, in the beginning, there was only two. Eve was a delta, and Adam was a Q. Moses led the people to the promised land, and that man Moses was an Omega man. And I'm telling you, it's so hard, it's so hard, it's so hard to pledge delta. We're crying to that song. We're crying to that song. National hymn that we can only sing behind the scene. Delta, with glowing hearts, we praise thee for the strength thy love bestows, for the glowing grace of thy sisterhood and the power that from it flows. Keep in us a strong endeavor and keep our souls to rapture rays. Delta lights the flaming ever, warms our heart, her bond to praise. Delta Sigma Theta, we rejoice in thee. Delta Sigma Theta, we pledge thee loyalty. Devoted to truth, a bond of our youth that keeps our hearts clean and pure to the end. Yeah, these are our national songs that we sung behind the scenes that we are forbidden to sing in public. Because if somebody came to your church singing that, you would have called them a witch immediately.
Exactly.
That's how they've been able to fly under the radar. We literally cannot sing them songs except from behind the scenes. We would have ritual nights where it would be dark in there, red candles lit, and that's where we would take wood, and that's where we would have to sit, in a squat position, and big sister would just powder you so much. I remember one time my butt was beat so bad that it was literally black, and I could barely sit down in my seat. And I remember my teacher looked at me and was like, "What are they doing to you?" I'm not even joking. I was literally about to cry, but I was so afraid she was going to tell. So I just stopped going to her class.
So I'm trying to understand
about that. You're literally, for all of these folks who are in these fraternities, rather it's the male fraternities or the female fraternities, you're literally being tortured. They call it hazing, but hazing is just a new word for torturing. You get tortured by these folks, singing hymns to Greek gods, but in the public view, they make us all think that they're Christians. But behind closed doors, they're totally blaspheming the Most High God. All of this trickery, all of this debauchery, and what is it for? And we don't want to say that these people are Luciferian. We don't want to say these people are worshiping Satan. Baal or whatever incarnation you want to call it. You're celebrating a God that's not the true God. Because this God, because it's not my God, but what they call their God, lowercase g God, is over the material. And this supposed God is able to promise them material things. And for that, you will sell your soul? To the point you will be beaten by people you barely know to climb the ranks and have some type of status of what? It's nonsense. It's craziness. And think about so many people have family members who are a part of this, and they just think it's some happy go lucky stuff. But she said she got beat until her butt was black. Like, what are we talking about?
You're telling me that they're hitting people like full force, or I spank my babies like.
No, full force. So you see the decorative paddles that people have in their room. It's like a cute paddle. Sometimes you see. No, we would go to the wood shop and get paddles that were made from the wood shop. You would duct tape the handle so you had a grip, and you just go in. And the people that you see that have broken canes in their apartments or broken paddles, those are people that had the paddle broken on them, and they give that to you as a badge of honor. And they would just go. They would just go. And if you tried to break out, or no, you would have to get back up. It depends on the mood that the profiles had that night. It depends on if they wanted to do 3 in, 3 out. They just wanted to go. Don't even want to talk about hell night. How many you take?
Hell night.
Hell night.
Hell night is they have you up for 24 or 48 hours, depending on where you pledge. Because I want to be clear, pledging is the majority. People who didn't pledge is the minority. Don't ever let anybody tell you that. Okay? People who pledge is the majority. The minority are people who did not go through a pledge process. Okay? People are lying. And also the slapping, they would do this thing called smile wipes, where you slap your face and you will wipe. So if you was a happy or jovial person, they would wipe that off your face. That's why when people go to their crossing over, they got that mean mug. That's why they like that. Because they beat it out of you. So you can see sweet little Sarah, why she up there looking like that? Because they beat it out of you. You couldn't smile. You couldn't do nothing. You gotta be hard. That's why these people look like that. Okay? And so I was sharing with you about Hell Night. So when people say, how did you not know what you was doing for initiation or whatever the case? See, all of this stuff leads you up to that final selling your soul up. Because again, they ease you into this. On night 1, they're not doing this to you. Okay? They see how far they can go. They ease you into it. So the first ritual we did was kind of like, the second one, now the final one, is what a lot of people talk about, which is that big one where you're like basically selling your soul. But the reason that they can get away with it is because of Hell Night. Hell Night is when all the big sisters, the big brothers for men, they're all in town and they ready. They ready to get that lick now. They keep you up for 24 to 48 hours. And you are, going through the information, all of the stuff that you learn. You're delirious. They're beating you up. You're taking wood and you're up completely for 24 hours and you go straight into the initiation from that. You don't sleep.
Makes sense.
Yep. You don't sleep. And so that's why it's called Hell Night, because it's just insane, And so
Hell Night is right before.
Right before the initiation. Basically, you leave from set, get changed, and you go to the initiation. Now, you tell me in that state, am I thinking about what I'm saying on there, or am I trying to get this over with? I'm 18. You're 19. We're 20. You think I'm thinking about that? I'm not thinking about that. I'm ready to get that over because that night we got a probate. So at this point, you up 48 hours. And after that, we at the club for the after party. And then after you cross, you still haze because now you become a neophyte. And so every time the big sisters come around, you basically are a servant, like their do boy. Okay. Every homecoming, you got to go and buy all of the food for them to eat, all of the alcohol, all of the, whatever. You don't get to do nothing. The whole neo year, you're just serving nothing but profiles. And then they take you on a road trip and make you do the other chapters. And then you got to prove yourself. They got a thing called getting wrecked. So you got to prove that you pledged when you go to other chapters. If not, they strip you and they take your shirt or they take your chain if you didn't pledge. I know that because we did that to people who came to my campus. I know that. We sure did. So don't tell me, oh, you could just be paper. No, you could not. You couldn't. You don't get none of the benefits. If and that demon know who pledged and who didn't, because we have secret things for those who pledged and secret information for those who didn't. And so let's just say you just a Delta and you want to come to my campus. They have decorum. They have all types of stuff because it's a lot of perverted honor in these organizations. Tons. So like the older people, you have to honor them. You have to stand up. You have to sit down. You got all this type of stuff when they come into the room, all types of perverted honor. But if you was just a visiting chapter and you wanted to come down and party, no. If we found like you there or you're on our campus and you didn't let us know and you didn't come see us first and you
that sounds like gang stuff. Checking in. That's what it's called. Checking in.
I was just about to say that. Like, it's like they gang banging for the devil. They're gang banging for the devil. They got to check in. They if you don't do certain things, you get your chain snatched. You get kicked out the set. Like what? That is madness. That is crazy.
Yeah. We was educated witches and educated gang members. We in college. I wasn't even tough like that for real. But now you put these letters on my chest. Oh yeah.
What?
Oh, I'm big tough now. I'm big tough. Oh nah, I wouldn't let them take that from me. You got about 20 girls that's surrounding you. Yes, you are going to give them that shirt because you're embarrassed and you don't get any respect amongst any of the, because when you cross over for that fame, you become like a little god on campus. You become worship because that's what you sold your life for. And that's why you got all these people, they grown, they 40 and 50 going back to homecoming to be worship. Because that's the lot you got. Nobody care about that when you in the real world for real. But you got that little fame. Oh, you was Melissa the Delta. You was this, you was that. You know, you was all those things. Oh no, I again, like I told you, I was DP of 2 lines after me and I brought over an average of 4 lines. 4 lines. And I did this to all of these little young girls. All of them. I manipulated them, had them writing me papers, came up with demonic knowledge, did all of that same stuff to them. And what I am telling you as somebody who had to go back, I had to go to each of them and I had to repent and I had to apologize. You think the Lord planned? All of these people, I became an evangelist for Satan.
Because that's what it was. That's what
all of what I'm supposed to be doing now, nurturing these young girls, bringing them up, you know, shepherding them correctly. I was doing the most demonic, wicked things to these young girls who love my influence. They love who I was on campus, all of these things. And I'm manipulating them and making you be a part of this organization and making you feel like I love you. You know what I'm saying? Because of this trauma bond and this manipulation, because I'm playing good cop, bad cop, and I'm manipulating you, you know, with whatever, you know. It's, and I had to go to each of them and I had to repent and apologize for what I did, including going to the line, had to write a letter to them as well. Oh no, Jesus is not playing. And you're talking to somebody that knows it's a cost for this. I've gotten 3 cease and desist letters from Delta Sigma Theta. 3. Really? They've threatened. Are you kidding? But if they come out with a full lawsuit, we're going to have to open up the rituals. And I would love to do that. Yeah, I've been threatened. I lost everything for truth.
Wow.
That's Adam and Eve and the snake. That's a blue snake and Adam and Eve right there. This is the Singing Tower in Florida.
Bach Tower Gardens in Lake Wales, Florida was created by philanthropist Edward W. Bach, opening in February 1929, dedicated by President Calvin Coolidge.
Check out that door right there. Check out that door right there.
The Great Brass Door is the only entrance into the Singing Tower, and it's considered the masterpiece of Samuel Yellen.
This thing is gigantic, bro. Gigantic. There's so much going on in here, fam. There's so much going on. Oh, look, in the top, in the middle there, that's a pineal pine cone, right in the middle. Right there, right there. Those 14-foot tall birds. This thing is wild. Behind me, you'll see the Singing Tower in Lake Wales, Florida. It's 205 feet tall and sits atop Mount Iron, which is one of the tallest points in the Florida Peninsula. Can you see that? Can you see that? Yo, look at that.
This is 205 feet. I need you guys to... 205 feet and coincidentally on a mount. On the highest point in Florida. And when are we going to ask the obvious question on? Because they be claiming they built these buildings within 2 to 4 years. No more than 5 years. But it's so many of them. You mean to tell me these folks in the early 1900s and the 1800s had the resources and people to build all of these different structures at once in only 2 to 5 years? That's physically impossible. It's physically impossible. But they want this narrative that all of these buildings were built within that time frame. It's nonsense. These are all ancient structures. There's no other way of explaining this. Many people have typed in this stuff into AI, and AI itself has said, yeah, it would be impossible for during the time period and the equipment that they had to be able to build these things. We wouldn't even be able to build these things with the equipment that we have today. So how in the hell are these things erected today? The narrative falls flat when we just ask these basic, simple questions. We couldn't even build something like that today within 2 to 3 years. If possible, this thing is 205 years old. I mean, feet tall. I said years old, feet tall. How did they get, some of these bricks are ginormous. How did they get them to the top? The narratives are breaking.
Dial. Look at that sundial. This is on the Singing Bok Tower. It's 205 feet tall in Lake Wales, Florida. Look at that sundial, fam. Look at that sundial and the zodiac going all the way around it.
The zodiac sundial contains layers of esoteric symbolism that bridge ancient mysticism and nature-based philosophy.
Look at that sundial, dude. And it's got the zodiac all the way around it, all the way around it. This is in Lake Wales, Florida. Lake Wales, Florida.
The most striking esoteric element is the bronze snake that acts as the gnomon, the shadow caster. The word gnomon in Greek is for one who knows, or one that examines. Esoterically, the snake's shadow knows the exact cosmic alignment of the earth, acting as a bridge between terrestrial time and celestial
the
order.
demiurge.
Mr. Bach, the curator, is actually buried right there. Right there. You see that stone? He's buried right there. And this whole door is about the book of Genesis. The book of Genesis. The Singing Tower.
Wow. It looks amazing. Not gonna lie.
You want to see something that don't fit? It's a whole city. Buenos Aires, Argentina. I know I can't say it right. I've been practicing this whole time, and I just said it the same way I said it the first time. This is a coffee shop in Buenos Aires. And it was built from 1915 to 1917. 2-year build
2 years.
To be a coffee shop. It's just been it's a high-end coffee shop.
This
it's
is an
almost
ancient
like a
castle.
palace coffee shop is what they say. Order for Logan. Yes, sir. That'll be $30.
Look at
for
those
one small
pillars.
coffee. Construction photo of the coffee shop. What do you think that thing did up there? What do you think it did? It didn't serve coffee, that's for sure. The history says that this fort was torn down in the mid to late 19th century. 2 other buildings were set on top of it, and one of those was naturally the post office that looks like this. And look at the leveling down there. It was built from 1889 to 1890.
That's a Moorish structure.
Also in that same general area. On top of the fort, right next to the post office, they build the government building. So the post office and the government building are right next to each other, and then they have a wonderful thought. Let's just arch them together. Let's just Let's just arch them together. Why don't we? With our horses. Let's do it. In 1895, the Palace of Congress was first proposed and it was passed. And in 1898, they started working on it. I guess I should have known. I was going to show the progression of this marble palace, but that is the progression. From 1898 to 1906, 8 years, $6 million, they build the Argentine National Congress building. I want you to look at this thing. This is in the 1970s, so not that long after it was built. Look how ancient this looks. You really can't tell me that this is only 120 years old. This building is not just 120 years old. No way. Where would you even start on this project? Like, where would you even start? And just like in Cuba, their capital, the capital of Cuba in Havana, they have a Hall of Lost Steps. It's a common theme. This is the Blue Room. The level of detail it's just something we've never seen created today. We've never seen. You know, I like this game. Guess what this is? Guess what this building is? Come on. It's their water facility. It's their water facility. They call it the Water Palace. It's got 12 water tanks, 72,000 tons of water, and 300,000 ceramic tiles. It's their water facility. 1887 to 1894, 7 years to build. Whereas the National Congress Palace was 8 years, so 1 year less for their water. And look, I know water's a big deal, but come on, man. And in the middle of that thing being built, the City Hall was from 1890 to 1914. And it took a little longer because there was a panic. You know all the panics we've heard about. There was a financial crisis and everybody panicked. Right in this same time period, in 1889, they started to build the Opera House. And it took 20 years to be built. And you're probably thinking, what was the panic? It probably affected it too. No, the architects kept dying. What do you mean? I can't lie and say that I built this. Look at this thing. Last and certainly not least, and certainly the weirdest, is Barolo's Palace. Built in 4 years. It was designed around Dante's Divine Comedy.
Look at this building. Out of all the buildings he just showed, look how tall this building is. And they're talking about they built it in, what he said, 4 years? It was smaller buildings that they said that they built in 20 years. And look at how old it looks, already old. The more and more we just start paying attention to our surroundings, the more and more the BS is shown. And they make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that comment section up, and let me know, how old do you guys truly think this building is? Because to me, it looks at least 500 years old, if not longer. And it's repurposed. This looks like a castle. This angers me.
Hell, purgatory, and heaven. Numerology and symbolism are everywhere, built as a cosmic and ritualistic structure. What? The overlapping timelines, the sheer amount of material all done in just 30 or 40 years. I need to go to Argentina. Love y'all, and have a good day.
It's not just in Argentina. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
This is an 1893 map of Chicago, and it's the World's Columbian Exposition, and it's crazy. You gotta see this. I mean, I'm just gonna show you the outline, and then we're gonna dive in. It's just wild. Let me show you. First off, they got this one train that goes all the way around, which I thought was crazy. The tracks go all the way around the entire fair. This is like one of these World Fair things. Also, I understand that all these buildings were like temporary. They're not there anymore. If you're from Chicago, let me know if you've been there. Do you know where this is at? I don't know, but I found this really, really interesting. Look at these buildings. Look how this one's decked out here. Look at that. Then look at the size of the people. It's crazy. Then look at the size of this building here, right along the water. It's huge. I mean, it's just crazy. This is crazy. You got the boats there too. And then look at the entrance right there. I mean, that's so badass. And then you have this right here, which we get a better close-up of the statue. But it's not just these. I mean, it's every single freaking building. It's every single building. It doesn't matter which building I zoom in on. It's just what the...
All of them were pure white marble. And they claim these were temporary structures. When you look at the Field Museum, I'm from Chicago. When you look at the Field Museum, I've been to the Field Museum, I can't even tell you how many times. Drove past it. When you look at how it's designed and laying on the lakefront, and how it's right down the street from Soldiers Field, where the Bears play. The stadium where the Bears play, it looks like an ancient Coliseum. And it's right down the street from the Field Museum that looks like one of these structures. And right down the pier from that is the observatory. And in between the middle of the observatory and the Field Museum is the Chicago Aquarium that looks like an ancient palace. That looks like it got repurposed for fish. For fish. And it fits the narrative that it was a part of all of these buildings because it looks exactly the same as these buildings. But those are the ones that got saved. A lot of the skyscrapers in downtown Chicago are made of stone. They look ancient. They don't look like, they're not made of steel. They're made of giant stones that will also fit this narrative, but they just hide it in our faces like, oh no, y'all, this is normal. This is all normal. We built this in the last 100 years. These narratives don't make any sense at all. At all. There's actually an architect, I gotta find his videos on TikTok, who talks about how long it takes them to build certain steel structures today. And how building these steel structures, they wouldn't even be able to move with the technology that they have, they wouldn't even be able to move bricks that weigh over 20 tons. It would be physically impossible for them to move them. So how did a lot of those skyscrapers get built? Let's continue.
Crazy. What did they do to build all this? Why isn't it there anymore?
Exactly.
Comment, let me know what you think. Like, look at this one right here. And look how this is right along the water. Think about this. Even if it was temporary, the building, the structure, and everything on how it had to be leveled out properly in order to support all the weight and putting everything on there. And then this one right here, it almost looks as if this was, and I don't know, I'm just saying, it looks like as if maybe that might have been a balcony before and it was lower before. But now the boats are going right up to the steps, right?
Yeah.
Just find it interesting because some of these buildings are taller than others, right? I don't know. Just thought that was interesting. Like, look at that right there, too. The stairs going right up to that little portion. Just, I don't know. Looks like, I don't know. You tell me what you think. Look at that building there. This is what I mean. It just keeps going. And then look, it just keeps going. There's the train tracks right there. Like it's little train tracks going around it. And then even more, I could go on forever with this thing. Back here in the background, that right there, those are like several railroad tracks going. There's a railroad guy somewhere. There's the railroad right there. There's all the people coming in and out. But those are like multiple tracks coming in out of this whole facility.
This is all temporary.
Look at this. They have a little up, over, and back down. Really neat. Anyways, just wanted to share this with you. As always, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for following. Thanks for being a part of this. Thanks for being curious. As always, stay curious. And thank you for all you do. Until next time.
This to all my New Yorkians. I need y'all to come to the front of the line. I was listening to this song, and it had me going down a rabbit hole. The song said that New York was once Amsterdam. They didn't like it, so they changed it. So I was like, what you mean? New York was originally called New Amsterdam. The Dutch settlement of New Amsterdam was seized by the British in 1664 and formally renamed New York in 1665 in honor of the Duke of York, While its name changed, the original Dutch footprint remains in Lower Manhattan. So basically, New York was getting passed around. The name went from New York to New Amsterdam to New Orange. It was founded as New Amsterdam on Manhattan Island in 1624 through 1625. It say it was renamed New York to honor the Duke of York, who organized the takeover. The only reason it was changed to New York is because of the Duke named it after himself. The Dutch of the West Indian Company. You know how United States got that corporation? The Dutch West India Company. So what's up with these companies and corporations taking over? They took New York from some Indians, the Manhattan Indians, aka Atlas. The Manhattan Indians was deep. They was historically spanning from eastern Canada down the Atlantic coast to the Carolinas in the west to the Great Lakes Plains, aka west of Mississippi River. The Dutch governor formally purchased Manhattan from the local tribe. It said that they purchased it. They came in strong arm, killed the Indians, took the land over, and then they got the fighting with the English people. The Dutch got the fighting with the English over our stuff. Then a war broke out between the colonists and the Manhattan, which resulted in the death of more than 1,000 Indian settlers. 1664, New Amsterdam passed under English control, and English and Dutch settlers lived together peacefully. They did not live together peacefully. Stop lying. They was too power hungry to live together peacefully. That's cap. For how long? 2 days? How you gonna steal somebody's land? Take it from somebody, then get over there, act like it's yours, and then some other people come and take it from you. Now y'all playing hot potato with it. Then you talking about y'all find a way to live peacefully. Yeah, all right. Then the Netherlands temporarily regained the settlement in 1674. New York was returned to the English in 1886. It became the first city in the colonies to receive a royal charter. After the American Revolution, it became the first capital of the United States. So it says New York is the first capital of the United States. It says New Amsterdam became New York in 1664. When English forces seized the Dutch colony to secure control over the Atlantic coast and trade, the city was renamed to honor James, the Duke of York, later King James II, who organized the expedition to take the territory. The Dutch got it back, named the city Orange, but returned it to the British via treaty. Charles gave it to James. James named it after him, New York. I was trying to figure out, we had people named James up in here, so I'm like, okay, is these James the one that orchestrated or authorized the Bible? Is these the same King James? No, it's not the same, but they related. King James, the one that authorized the English translation of the Bible, is related to Queen Elizabeth, and he's also related to Charles and this other James that's the Duke of New York. John Wick was shot in New York, but if you see European Roman ruling, like they rules and they regulation, how they orchestrated a war and disciplinary actions, it all makes sense how New York has European relation or correlation because of the ownerships, like who really owns the United States. The people that we think own United States ain't even from the United States. But all that being said, New York used to be called New Amsterdam and New Orange. Did y'all know that?
Moorish architecture in Tampa Bay, Florida. Check this out, fam.
Well, would you look at that? University of Tampa. Big Moorish structure right here.
The Tampa Bay Motel was built between 1888 and 1891 at a cost of $3 million.
Henry B. Plant built this ornate Moorish structure at the cost of $3 million. Moorish, and check that out right there, bro.
Some more
There's
right there.
a Templar cross. Woe unto these merchants. Check that out with a rising sun. Right there, right there.
1891, they say.
It says that Henry B. Plant built this ornate Moorish structure at a cost of $3 million, opened in 1891. And once again, during the spirit
these folks were in war with the Moors for what seemed like over 1,000 years. The Moors had took over Spain. They took over everything. And the Moors were just the Israelites who got kicked out of Israel in 70 AD. They was just reclaiming their lands. So if you were at war with a people for over 1,000 years, why would you create things using their type of architecture? It doesn't make sense. Or did you come where the Moors were, took their land, and try to destroy the narrative that they was ever there, and say, no, we just created more structures when we got there. The narratives are all falling apart. You guys let me know down in the comment section. Does that make sense to you? Does that make any lick of sense to you that the people you was at war with, you're going to then use their type of architecture as your own? Doesn't make a lick of sense at all.
American war was headquarters for troops going to Cuba and housed such visitors as Colonel Theodore Roosevelt. Pretty wild. It's right over here. University of Tampa. What do we got going on here? This giant Moorish brick structure. Do you see all this? And it's got the crescent moons at the top here. 3 archways. Check that out. I'm gonna go walk over there. Look at the top. Look at the very top. Look at that. Moorish architecture here in Tampa. Built for $3 million. Opened in 1891. You can check this fountain out behind me. Check this out. Look at that. And those are all Venus shells all through here. Giant archways. Giant archways. See how big this is? Huge. Huge. Giant Moorish architecture. The hotel features 6 acres of floor space, 13 minarets, and numerous domes showcasing the Moorish Revival style. It operated as a luxury resort until 1930 and famously served as the Army headquarters during the Spanish-American War. The Moorish Revival landmark was acquired by the University of Tampa in 1933. What are your thoughts on this one, fam? Please let me know in the comments. I mean, check this thing out. 511 rooms.
511 rooms.
Look at that. Look at that. There's a big dome on this end of it. And you see all these crescent moons. Okay? Crescent moon on top of there. Huge silver. Piezoelectric brick. A 1/4 mile long structure. 6 acres of room space. Moorish Revival architecture, crescent moons, and Venus scallop shells. I love y'all. Stay wild and question everything.
It's getting wild.
Today in the Mississippi Stakes, I saw something that don't fit at all, and that's the Windsor Ruins. Those are 23 columns out in the middle of nowhere, Mississippi. It was a plantation home with 29 columns. This is 23. Okay, it was a 3-story plantation home, the biggest one in the nation, obviously. These columns are like 40 feet high. And this was built at the beginning of the Civil War. Let's get into it. The young adult that built this 17,000 square foot plantation home in the sticks of Mississippi was named Smith Coffee Daniel II. His dad was the first Smith Coffee Daniel. There was 23 rooms. There was a dairy room, which I didn't know. Is there cows in it or just bottled milk? There's a dairy room. There was a water tank in the attic that would distribute water to the bathrooms. There was an observatory at the very top. I mean, it was high class. But like all of these old world structures, it burned 30 years later. And Smith Coffee Daniel
How are you burning
the
that?
second.
If we was to set a fire under these pillars today, that's not destroying these pillars. What are we talking? That's brick. That's brick. That's bricks. The pillars themselves looks like they're made of quartz. They talking about a fire did that? It looked like it got bombed. And that's what we're learning. We're finding out about all of these old structures, the great fires that happened across the United States. None of those show evidence of just fires happening. It looked like a war was going on and everything got bombed. Why did they bomb all of these structures? Because that was the only way they could get rid of them. They couldn't tear them down. They couldn't tear them down. Even when you look at this, when they was talking about the structures in Chicago, they didn't just tear those buildings down. They blew them up. But then it's these narratives of all these great fires happening around the same time. Oh, there wasn't fires. And coincidentally, before each of the great fires that happened, there was a what do they call it? The World's Fair. It was a World's Fair and then a great fire. In all of these places, like it was one last hoorah before they destroyed what we built to then shape a narrative around it. But you guys let me know down in the comment section what you guys think. You guys think a fire destroyed these pillars,
after
this building that was there?
Built. Now, I'm not laughing at that man's death. I'm laughing at another narrative with that line in it. It's either the architect or the owner. But look at these bricks, man. I mean, pristine still. I don't know if they kept up with them, but wow, they look brand new, don't
Exactly.
they? Brand new. Supposedly they were done locally. And then let's zoom in on the colonnades up at the top. These are iron capitals, okay? It wasn't until I zoomed in on them that I got a really good glimpse and just look how beautiful this work is. These were supposedly made in St. Louis and sent down the Mississippi River, then put in an ox cart and carried to the construction site. This place is something special. So special. It really speaks to America being the old world.
Yeah.
Just looks like old world ruins, doesn't it? Let me know what you think. Love y'all. And have a good day.
What if we make it so it's totally vertical? This makes me think that conservation of energy must be broke. How can we account for this? The potential energy at the top does not seem to match the kinetic energy we're getting at the bottom, which would mean energy's lost. But we're not supposed to lose energy. Where's the energy going? Then I noticed an aluminum weight would shift a little bit when I put a strong magnet over the top of it and move it. The aluminum wasn't magnetic, but it moved when the magnet went over the top. So I flipped up the piece of aluminum so it'd be like a wheel, moved the magnet over the top, and I could shift this aluminum weight. I thought it'd be a little easier if I used aluminum sphere instead. It also wasn't magnetic. And we see the aluminum sphere would move around as the magnet shifted over the top. So what does it take to affect the aluminum? The stationary magnet doesn't do anything. Then I put a string through that aluminum ball and started it in pendulum motion. As it was swinging, it has momentum. I slid the magnet right underneath it and notice what happens to the ball. What?
Stopped. So would that account for how these structures was built? That they was built with a greater understanding of electromagnetism that they want us to forget today, that they don't want us to partake in today, because then we would have a bunch of free energy, because like you said, that was a potential energy loss or gained. Could that energy that's coming from that falling magnet on something that's not magnetic, where's that energy going? Could that be harnessed? Most likely, yes. And if so, just swinging something back and forth over a magnet could create what? Electromagnetism that can then power all of these things. That's why certain buildings were made out of quartz. Most of those mountains and things that we seen in this video, these castles were built with quartz crystals. Was built with particular stones that have the same type of effect that we just seen with that magnet. The old world seemed like it was way grander than what we thought it was. And that's why it had to be destroyed, because it didn't fit the narrative of capitalism that a lot of these demons wanted to bring forth once they came into power. But you guys let me know what you think. Did you guys like these videos? Did these videos help open your eyes to a lot of secrets that they tried to hide from us? There's a whole bunch of motorcycles going down. It's a hot day. I'm gonna get out and enjoy the sun myself. But yeah, let me know down in the comment section what you guys think. And if you guys are new here, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you're notified whenever I do drop a video here. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, so make sure you guys are subbing up and joining the kingdom. But with that being said, King Marcel out. Peace.
Money is alive, looking for the prize. That's eternal life, and bringing the change in my mind. Talking real peace of mind.